What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Pub Sports Radio Baseball Show. My name is Jose Paquette, and of course, joined with the JT Real Muto to my Bryce Harper. It is Andrew Santangelo. How are you doing, Andrew?
I'm all right. We kind of lost my team already for the week, but we'll see what happens after that. But I got to watch them this past weekend. Whether it's whether it's good baseball or bad baseball, at least the best sport is back. So I'm enjoying watching baseball again finally.
Yeah, it's nice to have like something on our screens now. It's nice. I just like having the feeling of having a ball go back and forth on my screen. Soccer was doing it for me for a really long time, but now that the Premier League has ended this week, in comes baseball, and all the other sports are coming right now too. But here comes
And
baseball.
MLS doesn't do it for you.
The MLS, unfortunately, now when Austin FC comes into the league next year, Andrew, there you go. I really considered trying to get season tickets for Austin FC. I was like, you know what? Maybe I buy season tickets and I drive up an hour and a half to go watch a couple soccer games. But who knows?
No?
I'm not a mogul. All my betting money hasn't come through yet.
That's
Well,
what baseball season's for.
Exactly, precisely. We have a big, hopefully long show. Like we said, baseball is back. First weekend back. Very interesting weekend for both of our teams. We'll talk about that. Losing to two of the bottom feeders of baseball, but who knows? Maybe our teams will be the bottom feeders. We'll be a race for the bottom. Can't wait. We also have 5 takeaways from each of us from this first weekend. Like we said, a lot of stuff has happened. I mean, we've almost lost a team. Who knows what's happening there? We'll talk about that here in a second. But as always, go subscribe to the Pub Sports Radio YouTube page. Go like us on Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. And go pick up a shirt or two at the Pub Sports Radio shop. It's a good time, Maybe we'll have a Pub Sports Radio shirt in there. Who's to say? Who's to say, Andrew?
Hey, I was looking at them. They're pretty cool. I'm ready to buy one once they get paid at the end of the month.
Before we get into the baseball talk, I'd like to talk about our YouTube page, and I need to inform you of a bet I've made recently. With a show here that I produce called 210 Culture, they one of their guys is going to dye his hair once they reach 3,000 likes on Instagram or something like that, 3,000 followers or something. So naturally, I as you know, Andrew, I like to gamble a bit. I like to gamble. I like to bet.
Not you. Not never.
I like to boost the brand, and Pub Sports Radio has as last time I checked, it was 730 YouTube subscribers, and I said if we get to 1,000 YouTube subscribers by the end of the month, then I'll dye my hair whatever color my girlfriend so chooses. So I'll check later on the show how many followers or how many subscribers we're at, but. If you're listening to us, go subscribe to the YouTube page, and maybe you'll get to see my hair be a very nice shade of bright blue, perhaps like a yellow. Who knows?
I was about to ask, do you have any early indication of what you think she's going to pick?
No idea. I have no absolute idea. I just know her favorite color is blue, so it might be like a light blue. Maybe a nice orange will fit me. I don't think red would work for me, but hopefully, best scenario, I'll just get a nice white, Andrew.
White?
Yeah,
I feel like blue and white are too common. She's got to pick something crazier than that.
Well, hey, we'll see. My girlfriend likes to see me suffer, always. Well, let's get into the baseball. She'll probably kill me now. I probably won't make it till next week for the next show. But actually, we'll talk about that later on the show as well.
Okay.
But let's talk about our 5 takeaways. And I feel like we were going to originally talk about our favorite teams first because that's what we usually do. But the Miami Marlins situation has taken over baseball. It is the story of baseball, just story of sports. This is the first league to not have a bubble in the regular season. Obviously, it was kind of impossible for them to do so with the fields and all that, and just so many people. But we've gotten to the Miami Marlins outbreak. This is kind of what everyone thought was going to happen later on the season, but it's kind of shocking that we get it 4 games in. So let me give you the details. Let me give the rundown, Andrew. Strap yourself in because I'm about to be doing a lot of reading. So a player on the Marlins tested positive for COVID on Friday. Then three more Marlins players tested positive on Sunday. So you have four Marlins players right there already that had COVID. Don Mattingly and his players got together in a group chat and they kind of discussed it and they were like, we should probably still play. We'll be fine, all that good stuff. So fast forward, then Monday we have 9 positive tests, 7 players and 2 coaches. So that brings us up to a total of, I'm not a math guy, but I believe that would be 13, Andrew. 13 people on the Marlins have COVID. They've tested positive. They haven't really released and said if they're asymptomatic or all that good stuff. But we hope they get well soon. Go ahead.
And then Tuesday morning, today, there's 4 more. They're up to 17 now.
Oh, there's 4. Hey, there you go. 4 more. All right, so 17 players or 17 personnel, I guess, because they're not all players. But yeah, so 17 players on the Marlins have COVID. Rob Manfred said before the season that something that would hinder the competitiveness of if one or more teams would force them to cancel the season. Well, we're in deep. This is a third of the roster. This is over half the roster, actually. Yeah. Over half of the roster has COVID. I wonder if this team, if it was literally any other team, would people freak out more? But here we are, Andrew. This is the everyone's talking about, Andrew. What are your thoughts about how baseball's handling this and what we're gonna do now?
I mean, to no surprise, after everything that happened this past offseason, MLB's done a horrendous job handling this whole situation. It should have been avoided from the beginning. When you first see a Marlins guy come down with it on Friday, that should have been your first alarming news. Then you see Sunday morning that, I mean, as you mentioned, you have more guys come out with it, bring the total up to 4 going into that game. And for the league to leave it up to the players to decide whether they're going to play or not, it was just not smart at all. I mean, of course, these guys have already traveled from Miami to Philadelphia. They're already ready to get playing. I mean, they already went through the entire camp to get ready for this season. They already went through the first 2 games of the season. Obviously, they're not going to want to just give up on the game. So, of course, they're going to say, let's get out there and play. They're not going to worry about it. And now it's not a good look for the league. It's not a good look for the world in general because obviously you have other people taking it more serious than not. And obviously you get the whole argument of it affects the older people more than the younger people. So now the younger people, when I mean, especially with schools starting to come up here in the next coming weeks, I mean, you're going to have what? I mean, look at the MLB. These guys aren't taking it serious. They're still going out there and playing. So, like, you're going to have these arguments. So it's not a good look. Obviously, everyone mentions, these guys are viewed as bigger than us because, I mean, everyone looks up to them as superstars and heroes and everything and role models, and they didn't do a good job of it this weekend. I mean, you can't leave it up to the players. The MLB should have stepped in, shut down Sunday's game to avoid anything else to come out on Sunday. And obviously now you're still waiting to kind of find out what the backfire is going to be. As of now, no Phillies players. One worker has tested positive, so just one worker as of now, so nothing too serious. Hope he's okay, he or she's okay. But obviously, I mean, if anyone's been following this whole thing the last couple months, you don't know whether you have it. I mean, you can test negative the day after, but it usually takes a couple days before it finally kicks in. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I do think the MLB did a bad job leading up to it. I think they have made the right decision now in suspending the Marlins season up until Monday as of now. And then the Phillies, they're postponed. All their games are postponed up until Friday. So I think that's a very smart move by the MLB, take the cautious route. So I guess afterwards they got a little better, but it's just so many questions. Like you mentioned, you released a 100+ page report, but then the first scare, they scrambled like crazy and acted like they didn't know what was going to happen. So it's like, what actually was in that 100-page report?
Yeah, it's kind of funny that they said that they recently in the news report that they released, rescheduling the Yankees and all them, which we'll talk about here in a second. They mentioned that only 0.3% of positive tests or tests come back positive in the whole MLB little testing program that they have. But we had arguably one of the faces of baseball now, the best player in the defending champion, Washington Nationals, Juan Soto, goes out, COVID. Now we have the whole half the Marlins team gone, COVID, and they don't know what to do. There was no baseline to say, okay, this is where we're going to cut the season, because If they had this like strict like, all right, if so and so percentage of a team gets COVID, then they're automatically out. Then we can't do this. We can't cut the schedule. They didn't put any of those triggers on themselves earlier, so now they're faces all these like incredibly tough decisions. Like, you were mentioning the Phillies. Their Phillies are out done for how long now, Andrew? A week, you said?
Every game up until Friday is canceled for them, so they're expected to get back out there on Friday, but we'll see depending on what happens with the cases and everything.
Yeah, so the Phillies are affected. The Marlins are done for a week. The Yankees were supposed to play the Phillies for 2 games. They've had to go to Baltimore now to play the Orioles for 2 games just to get a little more flexibility in the schedule later on, so they can reschedule the 2 Yankee Phillies games. But if this imagine if in 2 days a bunch of Phillies players start testing positive, then at what point, Andrew? At what point do you think we have to get to for Rob Manfred to cut it off, or are we just too big to fail because we've spent all this money and we're already invested? We got to keep going.
I honestly think if the Phillies have an outbreak, if it's just 1 or 2 guys, I think they'll keep the season going. But if they say get 10 to 15 players / coaches, just a mixture, I think that the season's done. I really don't think they're going to take too many chances. Or do I think they should? And I mean, I'll go a step farther. And I've been kind of telling some people this here and there, but I think in terms of the NFL, I mean, all the other sports need to learn from this. And I think a lot more than just baseball. I think a lot rides on what happens with the Phillies in terms of cases, because I mean, you got college sports, you got the NFL coming up, even the NBA and NHL, they're in better shape because they're in a bubble. But I think the interesting thing here is if the Phillies say in the next coming days have a very high reaction to it and do test positive, that shows how easy this is to travel from team to team. If they all come back negative as expected as of right now, then maybe sports are going to be more to push things in these next coming weeks because, okay, it can't transfer as easy as people might thought from team to team. But I think it's going to be very telling. I think there's also a lack of trust here, which is another big thing. I mean, all the players like to call each other brothers and everything. Well, you got to be able to trust each other where, okay, if he has it, that team needs to be willing to shut down. And you see it kind of around the league. And to bring up a serious case here, you see it with a guy on your team, Eduardo Rodriguez. I mean, he's obviously now battling very serious conditions from the virus. And I mean, hearts and prayers go out to him. Hopefully everything's okay. But you need to be able to trust that if whoever you're playing that day has it, or a couple guys has it, you need to be able to trust that opponent over there is willing to cancel the game, whether it's a forfeit or just a cancellation of the game. You need to be able to trust that, because when you have guys in the serious condition, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think he knew about that condition before getting the virus, right?
No, I honestly, I mean, I'm not fucking reading up on COVID and all the symptoms and everything that it gives you every day of the week, but this is the first time that I've heard COVID going after someone's like heart. Like that's insane. And people are still saying, they're like, yeah, man, it's just a flu, bro. It's just a flu. These athletes, nah. It's crazy. It's insane. And a lot of people now, if you're on the side of like, it's nothing, it's a flu, blah, blah, blah. People are now saying like people are rooting for all this stuff to like ruin baseball and stop all sports. And that's just the craziest thing ever. This is, I don't understand people anymore, Andrew. I just don't get it. I don't get it anymore.
I've never understood the world. I mean, it's always been
it's crazy,
but no,
crazy.
But you mentioned what has to happen for it to shut down, and at this point, I really think, unfortunately, it's going to take a serious case or two. And I'm not saying that's going to have to happen, but I think it is going to be a serious condition rather than just saying whoever so and so catches it. It's going to take a serious case like Rodriguez here, and it's unfortunate that it's coming down to that, but. I mean, what has happened so far up to this date that can lead me or you to believe otherwise? Because, I mean, as of right now, I see no reason why it's going to shut down here, and it's obviously not going to after this Marlins. As you already mentioned, they're reworking all the schedules. But they're faced with a lot of questions because the Nationals came out, and I think honestly wondered, and I wonder what you think, would Miami have canceled this weekend's game if it wasn't for the Nationals coming out saying, we don't feel comfortable, we don't want to travel to Miami? And how many other teams are going to say that? And it's fun. It's kind of ironic that Miami's first game back on Monday is against the Phillies. The Phillies are traveling down to Miami now. Why should the Phillies want to travel down to Miami after what happened this weekend
Yeah,
or last weekend?
It's such a balance. Everything's hanging on an edge right now, and like you said, if the Phillies come back positive, then bad things are going to start happening. A lot of dominoes are going to start falling really quickly. And I'm in, like you said, the baseball has been handling it pretty well since all this has happened. Now, I mean, they've done what they could. They isolated all the teams potentially involved and all that good stuff. But why are we going to say this is not going to happen again? What's going to stop this from not happening again? On the press report, they were like, all right, no more fucking around. We're gonna really crack down on these policies that have already failed us once.
It's going to happen again. There's no way to avoid it. I mean,
we hope not.
Obviously, yeah, we hope not. I'm saying you look around, and if you follow the statistics on this virus right now, who are the worst states? You got Florida, you got Texas, you got California, and I think maybe Arizona are up there. And guess what? You have without counting, you got like 5 teams in California, you got 2 in Texas, and you got 2 in Florida. So you know this is going to happen again because you're traveling from these states. And like I said, I mean, the Nationals were supposed to go down to Miami this weekend. They already said they didn't want to. I mean, who's to say what's next? I mean, I know next is the Phillies, but whoever's after that, who's to say they're going to want to travel down there? And if things don't get better, why are teams going to travel to Tampa Bay? I mean, it's not that far away from Miami. I mean, it's the same state in a very bad spot right now, and it's going to be interesting. I mean, again, obviously we hope. I mean, we're 2 of the biggest sports fans. We can't go through another 4 months without it. Man. So, I mean, obviously we're hoping it gets better, but if you're asking me, and I don't know what you think about this, and I don't think it's possible because I don't think these guys are going to agree to go to a bubble, but I think that's the only way you get a full season in. But if you could, I'd suspend the season for about a week and a half to 2 weeks. Pinpoint a location, whether it's like 2 or 3 locations. You don't have to go all in the same bubble, but like find a spot for the West, find a spot for the Central divisions, and find a spot for the East divisions. And then in 2 weeks, restart it back up. That way you're in the same state, in the same bubble. And I think that's the only way you're going to be able to get a full season in. But the problem is I don't think the players union would ever agree to it.
And there's so many logistical things that you have to do. And it took the NBA a long time to set up their bubble. Imagine Major League Baseball trying to do the same exact thing, and like half the time with half of the competence. It's gonna be bad. I mean, this is the only way they can do it. They're just gonna honestly. I think regardless of what happens, I think we're pushing through, no matter what. I think the Marlins are literally the perfect team for this to happen to for baseball because. The Marlins are no one gives a fuck about the Marlins. We're not going to watch a week's worth of Marlins games. Who cares about that? If this happens to the Yankees or someone like that, oh my lord. Oh my lord.
But you make a good point though. It's the Marlins. If this was to happen to the Yankees or the Dodgers or the Astros or a bigger team, that would shut it down. And again, not to cross sports again, but you could already tell how this is kind of reacting to other sports. The NFL opens up their opt-out case today or whatever, and within the first hour or 2, look at how many guys opted out. I mean, the Patriots had 6 or 7 guys right off the bat, a couple big guys. The Bills lost a big player. I mean, these guys are already opting out, and I think I forget who it was, somebody on the Rockies after this news came out, he opted out of the season because of everything going on. So it's already changed a player or two's mindset. Like you said, Marlins are the only ones that have an outbreak, but everyone has their cases. I mean, you mentioned Juan Soto. The White Sox manager has been out these last 2 or 3 games, I think, because he has it. And now that a manager has it, that's scarier than any player because these guys are older than the players. So you can't. To me, it's gonna be interesting how long they have it. But I said this last night on one of my other podcasts, Chasing the Pennant. I gave it a 20. I think I gave it a 25, 30 at most % chance to finish the season. I don't know about what you would.
That's bold. I think I'm still high. I think I'm in the 70s. I would go 75% chance we finish still. Like I said, I think it's literally the best team for it to happen to if we're going to be sadistic about this because and the too fucked up part about this to end this because we still have 5 more takeaways or 4 more each, I guess, because that's one of that's my takeaway. I'll take that one right there.
Okay. I think we're both going to have that one.
But the Marlins are down 17 odd people, 15 players or whatever it is. So we're just going to be like, all right, Marlins, well, tough shit. You have to call your prospects up. You have to call up Sixto Sancho. You have to call up all those guys, start the prospect clock on them. Or they're just going to be like, well, we're just going to pick up some random free agents from here and there and put out potentially the worst team ever. And again, and like we said earlier, imagine if this happens to a Yankees, Astros, so-and-so team, whatever. If that happens to them, imagine the fan base. The fan base are like, well, this season doesn't matter. It's an asterisk. No one cares about this season. We never thought this season was legitimate in the first place, and that ruins everything that we're working for too. So, I mean, it's super tough. There's nothing we can really do about it. I hope we get through this with no more cases. That would be the best, you know. I would like to watch baseball. Unfortunately, you don't get to watch your baseball team for a week now, which is kind of unfortunate there, but we'll see what happens, honestly. I mean, I'm excited for the rest of baseball. Samwise just commented. By the way, I told you about my Joey Gallo bet. I have a bet on Joey Gallo to have the most home runs, and I told Sam because I don't watch Rangers games for obvious reasons. But if the Rangers hit home runs, or if Joey Gallo hits a home run, he sends me an emoji as like a smoke signal to let me know. Shout out to Joey Gallo's one so far. But Samwise says the Marlins are so strapped for players. Jeter might have to suit up. I would hate to see it. I would
love to see it. That'd be funny.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's classic, of course. Derek Jeter misrunning a franchise. I can't believe it. But Andrew, tell me one of your takeaways that you've got on your list here. Let's try to lighten the mood up, maybe.
I'd say, surprisingly, I mean, going into the season, all we heard was how much hitters would have to kind of adjust and get ready. So I was kind of surprised by the amount of offense this first opening weekend. I mean, I thought scoring-wise, obviously you always have a couple games that were low scoring here and there, but I thought for the majority, I mean, you look at a lot of the different games this past weekend, the amount of offense that kind of was displayed, and kind of, especially with the opening weekend, is all your aces out there pitching, quote unquote. So I'd say the offense was the biggest surprise to me this past weekend.
Along with that, one of my takeaways were just pitchers not being ready yet, which I think it goes.
That's fair.
Goes along with you. I just don't think pitchers have had enough time yet. There's so many pitchers that have gotten hurt in this past week, and pitchers that literally have come out and said like, yeah, I just haven't had enough time. You know, so I'm still getting used to everything. My man Shohei Ohtani comes out,
he got destroyed.
couldn't even record him out after the game. His pitching coach is like, yeah, there's not enough preseason work. He couldn't throw a strike, and his fastball was 96 last year or whenever he was last pitching, and yesterday or whenever that was, it was a 92 average fastball velocity. So
the other guy couldn't throw a strike, Craig Kimbrell.
Yeah, Craig Kimbrell obviously not ready for the season. Obviously not. That bastard. That's hilarious. Shout out to Craig Kimbrell. I love Craig Kimbrell, but seeing him do that on other teams is just like, man, I don't miss that whatsoever. But more pitchers that have just not been ready or have been hurt because of just kind of been thrown in there and hope we're ready to go. Justin Verlander, forearm strain, which is code language for an elbow injury. Initially, he was reported out for the season. Then he tweets like, "Oh, I'm only out for a few games or a few weeks." We'll see. We'll see what happens there, Justin.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see what happens because a forearm strain every time is code word for elbow, and that's not a good injury, obviously, for any pitcher. Your man Corey Kluber, comeback player of the year, torn shoulder after one inning, not even one inning.
If he's done for the year, if it comes down to that, 0 ERA, 0 hits allowed.
Yep.
I mean, just give him Cy Young too while you're at it.
Give him, please. I hope he gets it. So Corey Kluber out at least a month, probably more. So who knows if we'll see Corey Kluber again? I don't think we will, to be honest. Kershaw started on the year on the IL with his back. Marcus Stroman tore his calf. And we've got Steven Strasburg got skipped for his first start with a hand injury or tingling in his.
And he does not seem close to coming back either. That does not look like it's going to be a miss one start.
Yeah, so I mean, I really do think a lot of these pitchers, whether it be these big names that I just read off or the smaller pitchers that we don't know, the relievers that are maybe only team-centric, the pitchers just really are. It doesn't seem like they're ready physically, and that's probably contributing to your home runs and your juice balls and your high offense.
But see, I also thought it was kind of cool. I thought this past weekend, yeah, you had the big time home runs, but I also thought that I thought that overall the home runs weren't kind of as relied on as they were last year. I thought a lot of the offense this year you did see a lot of kind of hits kind of stay in the park compared to last year. I mean, yeah, you still had the deep home runs. I mean, obviously you had State hit murder that one home run, and you had a couple other guys.
Fast. Quick tangent. I had a significant amount of money on the Nationals Yankees game, and I had for them not to score in the first inning of the game. When you would think that Max Scherzer and Garrett Cole could get out of the first inning without giving up any runs, but they both did. So go fuck me, right?
Tough. But hey, you're not a long time gambler, right? Just you'll be fine.
No, yeah. Before you go again, Andrew, Samwise commented and asked if we think players like Kluber who get these 40 to 30, 45-day injuries will just sit out the year and not risk Rona. I do. Like I said, I think Corey Kluber's done.
I think it depends. In his case, I think he'll be done. I think a case like Justin Verlander, who will have a chance to probably come back, be at the top of the rotation. And I don't know what Verlander's whole case was, but a guy like him, a team that has a true chance to win the World Series, I think those guys might push to come back. I mean, he's 36, I think he is, so he's coming down to the end of his career already. He's going to probably try to give it one last push. So I think it kind of depends on the player. A guy like Kluber, if the Rangers kind of fall out of the race or kind of get that last playoff spot now that there's 8 teams, a guy like him I could see sitting out, especially not only that, even if it wasn't for the virus, if it was just a shortened year, I mean, why not just take the rest of the year off, get ready for the full 162 next year, and kind of get your body ready for that. Oh, yeah, hopefully. I mean, if we're not back to that, I mean, we got other problems if we're not back to 162 game season next year.
But I agree with you. It all depends on standings, and all these games are so important now. I think someone did the math, and then every game counts for 2.7 games. Mm-hmm. So like for example, our teams, the Red Sox are on a 3-game losing streak right now. So if you do the math right quick they're on an 8-game losing streak.
That's tough. I mean,
yeah. We'll talk about it.
Luckily, we're 1-2. So we're if you do that math, we're 2-4. So it's not bad.
We'll talk about our teams though here in a second. But do you think the balls are juiced right now, Andrew? Is you said there weren't as many home runs? I mean, who knows? Are we back to regular baseballs, or are we going to just continue seeing like teams like the Twins just destroy balls? I personally do think we have a juice ball still.
That's fine. I think last year they definitely were, but it's still a small sample size, but I lean towards they still are because of the distance of the home run. Like I said, so far I think we've had a lot more kind of spread out hitting, but with how far some of these are going, I think that it's either, I mean, I don't want to call any player out, but it's either some players are juicing themselves or the baseballs are juiced, because I mean some of these home runs are pretty ridiculous at this point.
Yeah, Giancarlo, aka Mike Stanton. By the way, I don't call him Giancarlo. His name is Mike forever. I just want to establish that on this program. His name is Mike.
Okay. All right. Why are you sticking to Mike? Like I know.
Because his name's Mike, Andrew. His name's Mike.
So, okay, so you won't give him the benefit of what he wants to be called?
No.
Is that because he's a Yankee? Was it Mike when he was with the Marlins? That's my question.
It was Mike.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
No, I know his name was, but is that what you always called him when he was with the Marlins?
No, yeah, he was a good guy then. I call him Giancarlo. No problem.
Okay. So it's a Yankee thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
For certain. But let's talk about our favorite teams and our one takeaway about our favorite teams here, Andrew. I'll go first.
All right, go. I mean,
we both had disappointing weekends. You lost the series to the Marlins. I lost the series to the Orioles. Not what you want to start the season. My takeaway is that the Red Sox are going to have the worst starting pitching in baseball. And by that, I mean it's going to be worse than the Orioles.
Wow, that's bold.
It's not bold, Andrew. It's not when you see it. But let's start with opening day. Nate Eovaldi goes on opening day, 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 4 Ks. Okay, good. We get the win. They hit a bunch of doubles. Awesome. Next game, Martin Perez. Shout out to Samwise, his guy. 5 innings pitched, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 Ks, 7.2 ERA.
Terrible.
Good. That's not good. Then we get to Ryan Weber. Ryan at Weber. Andrew, have you ever heard of Ryan Weber in your life?
Before a preview of the East, no.
Okay, good. Ryan Weber. There we go. 3.2 innings pitched, 6 hits, 6 earned runs, 3 walks, 14.73 ERA. Again, not what you want. And then we got last night, Josh Osich, a.k.a. the Ostrich. 3 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 2 Ks, 1 home run, and another home run that should have been called a home run in one of the worst umpiring decisions I've ever seen in my life when it comes to home runs. It was like 40 feet fair, and the umpire's like, nope, foul ball. Didn't even consider reviewing the match either, which was hilarious. So he does that, and then the reliever they bring him after that gives up 6 earned runs too.
Good.
So yeah, so the Red Sox start every game at least down 4. And it's very demoralizing as an offense to try to come back when you're constantly down 4. It's the most annoying thing ever. And today, Andrew, because we're recording on it's Tuesday, it is currently 5:35 if we're going to timestamp this, and the Red Sox play in about 30 minutes or so, whenever it is. And we've got a guy named Matt Hall on the mound. Andrew, have you ever heard of Matt Hall?
I have not.
He's
a new name.
He's literally a creative player on the show. Who is this man? And he's going to go out there and he's going to pitch against the Mets, and Pete Alonso is going to take him a yard, and then we're going to do this all over again.
He was, let's see, he pitched for the Detroit Tigers back in.
Yeah. Oh, I've done my research on Matt Hall. He won a College Player of the Week once.
Okay.
Yeah. College
career.
Yep.
Career 9.48 ERA in 21 games in MLB.
Mm-hmm. Small sample size, 21 games.
Yeah, I think it's his first start, actually, first career start.
Mm-hmm. Yep, great. So yeah,
have fun with that tonight.
So yeah, so the Red Sox, and the funny thing is about this is that everyone in the Red Sox nation, every Red Sox fan knew this was the case. We all knew our starting pitching was going to be atrocious because Tommy John to Chris Sale, trade David Price, Eduardo Rodriguez is out with COVID. He's done for the year for sure. And then we have our 4-star Nate Eovaldi pitching against aces like Jacob deGrom on tomorrow, actually, I think. So
yeah, it makes sense.
So and there's no help coming. There's not going to be trades like we said. We might pick up Mike Fultonevich. What is his name? Is his name Mike?
Yeah.
It's okay, yeah. Fultonevich. He's
Philly's better again.
He's gone. He's off the Braves, designated for assignment after he got shelled by the Rays. Who knows what we're gonna do there? But the Red Sox are up against the salary cap or the luxury cap, excuse me, and if they add Fultonevich, they're gonna be right closer there. So it's just a big fucked up situation, and I'm convinced the Red Sox have a potential to be worse than the Orioles, record wise, and very much starting pitching wise.
I can't see record wise just because the offense is just so much different.
You'd be the Orioles can hit apparently. Who would have thought? Jose Iglesias is their 3 hitter.
Can they hit or can they just enjoy facing Red Sox pitching?
Both.
There's a difference.
They both
There's
enjoy.
A difference.
They enjoy both. Let me tell you, Chris Davis getting 7th. Great.
Let's see what they do against the Yankees tomorrow night.
Let's see it. I'd love to see them take 2 from the Yankees. Hey, that's the division leading Baltimore Orioles to you, by the way.
These 2 games fighting for the division. And we'll see what happens.
Yeah, division's up for grabs.
Yankees are so worried they got to move up Garrett Cole a couple spots to open the series.
Yeah, he's a fucking bum. He can't go out of the first inning without giving up a home run. So that's good. Yeah, good. But yeah, the Red Sox, really bad starting pitching. Andrew, I have a feeling that you're going to complain about something very similar.
Yeah, I'm not going to go starting pitching. As mediocre as our starting pitching is outside of Nola and Wheeler, I'm going to take the bullpen. Our bullpen is atrocious. They only proved that in this opening series against the Marlins. I mean, just take Sunday's game, for example. Again, you're facing the Marlins. Not only facing the Marlins, but you're facing a team that lost 4 starters due to a virus. Again, hope they're okay. But the point is, they lost 4 guys in their lineup because of the virus. But the Marlins still were able to find a way to score 11 runs against the Phillies, missing half their lineup. So it just says it all right there. 4 runs to give up to the starter, and then 7 to the Phillies bullpen.
Who's your starter?
Vince Velasquez started the game.
Yeah, our favorite Velasquez, a friend of the program.
Is he?
Yeah, we talk about him often. I slandered his name a lot when we were talking about him in the preview.
But no, yeah, he's not good either. Hopefully, Phillies call up Spencer Howard for the next start, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Or
but
Austin,
anyway,
whatever his name is.
What was that?
Austin, whatever his name is.
Spencer Howard's the pitcher. Alec Boehm is the infielder.
Alec, there's his name.
Alec Boehm.
Austin.
No, not Austin. Yeah, you got the A right.
Hey,
but no, Phillies are gonna go. I mean, Phillies won't go anywhere with this bullpen. I mean, again,
Andrew, what are you talking about? They're gonna win the division. We said it on the last program.
No, you said it.
We agreed on this, Andrew. There was a lot of celebration going on.
There was celebration because I was happy someone was able to pick them. But no, it's just kind of like you knew what you had coming into this year with this horrendous bullpen, but they did nothing to fix it, and it's a shame because just like Boston, you have 2 big market teams that should not be worrying about the luxury tax. But here we are complaining about a roster because they're not willing to go a little bit over. And I mean, the Phillies were so scared to go over the tax, they cut veterans in Francisco Liriano and Bud Norris and Drew Storen, and kept guys on this roster that obviously clearly already aren't panning out this past weekend. For example, the guy that came in and gave up 4 runs in 1 inning, 5 hits in 1 inning against the Marlins, for an ERA of 36 after his first outing. I mean, he was with the team last year, and what did he do last year? He had a high 5 ERA in 16 outings. So again, you knew he wasn't anything special, but you decided to ride with a guy making lesser money over guys like a Francisco Liriano, who's been, I mean, is he what he used to be? No. Is he an ace? No, but he's a proven veteran pitcher that can get the job done. He usually has a high 3, low 4 ERA, which, I mean, you take that risk out of the pen for a long reliever. And instead of going near the luxury tax, they said, all right, we're cutting you. And another guy, actually the Red Sox just picked up, but Robert Stock, a hard thrower.
I love how you complain about your bullpen or whatever, and then you're like, yeah, the Red Sox picked him up. I'm like, fuck. I can't wait to complain about him.
Well, no, this guy, we cut him before the season, so he's a veteran, so maybe he'll be able to do some things. Robert Stock.
Okay, noted. I can't
so
wait.
we'll see. I don't. Yeah, you keep me updated on how he does. But
yeah, I can't wait to the Stock man.
No, it's just frustrating when you have to live with this, and it's. I mean, for you, it's just this year because I mean you were able to have Chris Sale last year and everything, but I mean when it's the same thing over and over again. I've been dealing with this bullpen for the last 2 or 3 years, and as I mentioned on the preview show last week, I mean you've been in first place at the trade deadline the last 2 seasons, but because you're unwilling to fix these issues, you fall off and you finish 4th in the division. And again, I don't see why that's going to change. And this is just 3 games into the season, but the same thing. Luckily, on Saturday, Zach Wheeler pitched a great game, so you didn't even have to worry about it because he went 7, then you just have your setup guy and whoever else pitched in the 9th. They was 7-1, so they didn't have to use the closer. But when they replace Aaron Nola on Friday night, you bring in the bullpen. The bullpen gives up, I think it was 2 or 3 runs Friday night as well. So you're already looking at close to 10 runs in 2 games.
Yeah, that's not good. All right, let's stop talking about our favorite teams now because people aren't here for Red Sox and Phillies talk. Obviously, they're here for baseball. Andrew, my next takeaway for you here: the extra inning rule. So we got to see the extra inning rule in effect. 5 games went to extras this week. Only 1 went to the 11th, and only 1 successfully executed the sack. Way of winning this extra inning, and they actually won. The Royals, shout out to them. They gave a sack bunt and then a sack fly by your man, Michael Franco, whatever his name is.
Michael Franco.
Yeah, I love that man. By the way, he's my favorite Royal out there. Did a lot for me this week.
He had a big day yesterday.
Yeah, that's
Two home runs.
what I'm talking about. We'll talk about the gambling corner later, but it was a good time. So, what were your thoughts on the extra inning rules, Andrew? Let's try to keep this shorter because we've only seen 5 games. But what are your thoughts on it?
First reaction, again, I'm not a big fan of it. I think it's just annoying to watch the game and seeing a guy start on second, and you bring in these relievers, and I know it doesn't count to the ERA, but like yesterday, it was yesterday's game, the Brewers Pirates. A reliever comes in, gives up a single, and the guy scores, and then that's the game. And it's just annoying to me. It's annoying to see because the guy gives up one hit, and then he comes, shuts the door down from there, goes 1, 2, 3, and he should have been out of the inning without a run. But now he gets the loss. It's an unearned run, but he still gets the loss. So I think it's stupid. Hopefully, it goes back to regular baseball next year, and this is just a 1-year thing to avoid long games with the virus going on. But yeah, not a fan.
I'm not a big fan either. It's doing its job though. This was implemented to get games over with quickly. I guess it's Corona reasons. So we'll see. I'll give MLB the very, very slimmest benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to say this is not going to last next season because I don't think anyone likes it. But it's getting the games over with quickly, which is cool, I guess. And everyone was speculating about what I'm calling the sack strategy, where you just sack bunt and then sack fly the guy over from second to third and get him in home from there. Like I said, only one of the 5 teams has done it successfully. The Pirates, earlier we mentioned Gerard Dyson tried to get it down. He couldn't get it down. Shout out to you, Gerard. I appreciate you. But it's and the funny thing, I was reading an article on Fangraphs about this, and it only bunting in that 0 outs second base situation that you're put in only gives you a 1.3 added chance for win probability, which I was like, damn, that's crazy. So more teams are seemingly swinging away. The teams that I remember off the top of my head, the Braves dominated the Mets in extra innings the other day. They just hit like 3 doubles and ran away with it. The A's and Angels were the very first one, and Ohtani got picked off at second, which was hilarious, but that ended in a walk-off grand slam. Like I said, Kansas City, I think it was probably against the Tigers. They did the sack strategy, but I think it's been interesting. It hasn't been bad at all. It's going to piss me off when it affects my team. I can guarantee you that. But if this is just a 1-year thing, then let's not make it a big deal out of it, I guess.
Real quick, that's the thing, though. To me, I mean, yeah, they implemented it because of the virus is their excuse, but this is a rule they've been trying to implement for the last 4 or 5 years or so, and they put it in the minor leagues 2 or 3 years ago, and I think you actually texted me when it first went in because you were working with a minor league team.
Yeah, very awkward. The weirdest thing I've ever seen.
So, I mean, this to me is their excuse to put it in is the virus, but their ultimate end goal is to leave it in for the long term. But hopefully, and that's my worry is that they used it to get it in, and now they're going to try to keep it. Hopefully, it doesn't stay though.
Yeah, I agree. And last point on this is that relievers now, oh my gosh, they are so important when you get into that extra inning because Dave Phelps, my man on the Brewers, was the only pitcher in those 5 innings to get out of the bottom half of that inning without giving a walk-off, and it's tied right there. The only one. The only game they got to the 11th was Brewers Pirates, and your boy bet on the Brewers. Shout out to me.
Your man Phelps. So that you called him my man Phelps.
Your man, my man too. I love Dave Phelps.
He's not my man.
Might have to purchase his jersey. Andrew, give me one of your takeaways.
Honestly, and you kind of mentioned it earlier, but one thing I did write down is I wrote down injuries outside of COVID related. Everyone was worried about what would happen before the games in when you lose guys right before you got to shake up your lineup. But like you mentioned, a lot of these guys aren't ready, and it goes beyond just the pitchers. Like you're already seeing a lot of the other guys affected as well. You already see a couple guys go down with hamstring tightness or hamstring issues because they're not ready. They're not fully. I mean, it's clearly affecting them. Having started spring training, stopped, went back to camp for 2 or 3 weeks, and then restarted the season. And I mean, the biggest name that I can think of that it's kind of affected You have Bo Bichette. He's been out the last 2 or 3 days. He's the biggest name I can think of off the top of my head that has to deal with the non-virus related issue. And then obviously a lot of pitchers. We forgot to. I mean, you already mentioned 6 or 7 pitchers. Yeah. Alex Wood just went on the DL with an injury. Yeah. Another pretty significant name. But because even in camp, you saw a couple guys go down. Miles Mikolas of the Cardinals. He's done now for a while. I think he's out for what?
I didn't even know that one.
Yeah, I think he's going to undergo surgery, right flexor tendon. So he's done for the year.
Yeah. So the injuries are going to be tough, and it's, at some point, it's just a war of attrition. It's how deep are you, COVID related or not? How deep is your team? How deep is your farm system?
Yeah, and it's not going to end there. I mean, and obviously you got to worry about the virus every day. But I mean, on top of that, like you mentioned, these guys aren't ready to go out there every day, they aren't conditioned, I guess, ready enough to kind of go out there. And it's
just starting. We're literally just starting. So we don't know if this is like more injuries than usual, or maybe we're just noticing them more. But the muscle injuries are rampant. I mean, the pitchers, like I said, listed half of them more muscle injuries.
I kind of think it goes to starting spring training, stopping, and then restarting. I think. And again, like you said, we don't have exact numbers to tell whether it is because of that or not. But I think that's kind of has probably something to do with it rather than just going through a full month of spring training, getting your body ready, and then kind of getting into the season there. So I think that's definitely playing a factor.
I agree with you. All right. My last takeaway, Andrew, the DH, smashing success. And I've always been pro DH. So I need to hear your opinion, Mr. NL. How does it feel to have a competent person in your lineup in the 9-hole? How does it feel to not have to be like, well, the 8 guys coming up and we have 1 out? That means the inning's over because 9's not getting a hit or whatever.
I miss.
Come on, Andrew, join us.
I miss the pitching. I mean, listen, yes, I do. It's more interesting to me when I'm watching a game and it's now the 6th inning. It's a 1-1 game, 2-1 game, or whatever, and the manager's got to decide: do I let him hit or do I pull him? There's so much more to the game, and this is coming from someone who just had his DH hit 2 home runs on Saturday.
Yeah, you should get used to that. That's fun. That's really fun.
Our DH hit 2 home runs on Saturday. I'm still saying this.
That's awesome. Good. You know who wouldn't hit those 2 home runs in one game? Your pitcher.
Tell it to Madison Bumgarner.
I will. If Madison wants to hit, he can hit. Good, please. He can DH. I'd love to see it.
Listen. I'm not saying it's bad because yes, I still love the game. I'm fine with watching the game, and obviously I love the 2 home runs. It went on to basically lead us to a win on Saturday because I think he finished with 3 or 4 RBIs out of a 7-1 win, so it kind of got us going. And don't get me wrong, is it as bad as I originally thought? Maybe not, but I would still much prefer my traditional NL league than right now. So 2021, give me that DH or give me the no DH, give me that NL pitcher back.
No,
listen. I'm a strategist. I like the extra strategy behind it. I like having the option of the manager deciding, do I leave the guy in or do I pitch hit here? It makes everything more valuable. You might as well get rid of my bench. We haven't used a bench guy.
Whose fault's that? That's not your fault. That's Joe Girardi just refusing to use his bench. You can still use it. You know, Andrew, what I like? I like Yoenis Cespedes getting to be DH and hitting home runs. That's my favorite thing. I like home runs. I like hitting, and we're not.
I like home runs too. Everyone likes home runs.
Apparently not, because you want to see pitchers go up there and strike out. Samwise chimes in and says, if pitchers were hitting this season, not one would have more than 1 home run.
That's
and Andrew.
That's correct.
And Sam,
that's correct. What's the point here?
Sam, and you know what? I'll disagree with you. Shohei Ohtani will have 2 home runs this year, guaranteed. Oh well, yeah. So yeah, DHs are back, Andrew. DHs are back. They're going to take over. They're going to be a permanent thing. And in like 10 years,
not in 2021.
I'm
going to enjoy 2021, the last year without a DH, and this is going to be glorious because I know starting in 2022 with the new CBA, I know the DH will be here forever. It'll be a sad day.
I bet you there's going to be a DH in 2021.
As of now, there is not, so I'm sticking and hopeful with that.
We'll see. What's your last takeaway?
I'm not gonna lie, my last takeaway was the DH because I wanted to give you my opinion on
that's
it.
fine. That's fine.
But if you need me to think of another one, I can.
No, because we're running out of time, and that's perfect for us, Andrew.
Okay, fine. I'll leave you with one headline here. I don't know if you saw this one.
Okay.
The Astros have asked, and it is expected that they have extended their manager Dusty Bacon through the 2021 season.
Okay, sure. AJ Hinch was a dick. They threw him under the bus.
I just thought it was interesting for it to happen that fast, 4 games into the season.
Hey, they beat the Mariners. They beat the Mariners. What else can you ask from them? So
that's true. I'm just when I saw that headline today, I think it came out a little bit before the show, like an hour before we started this. It just shocked me. I was like, already? Like,
yeah, of course.
4 games in, you lose your best starting pitcher, and who knows what's going to happen after that.
And he was the face of the whole offseason for them. He was the one answering all the questions when they were like, did you guys cheat? And he was like, bro, I wasn't even here, my guy. I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
Maybe the organization felt like they owed him something to give him that extra year because of what he did in the offseason for him. But,
I'm excited to see I like Dusty Baker.
I like Dusty Baker too.
He's a good guy. Shout out to him, man. He's old too. I'm shocked that he signed that extension, to be honest.
He's gotta be in his 70s, right?
Yeah, probably. While you type and look that up, Andrew, we're finished with our takeaway, thankfully. We have about 7 minutes left, and I want to give you some games to look forward to in this next couple of days, because we're probably going to be back Thursday or Friday for our second episode of the week. And that's going to be very exciting when we do so. So let's look forward, Andrew, because tonight and tomorrow we have some appetizers, some yummy games we can just eat up. We've got the Dodgers going to Houston, Andrew. We've got the first matchup between these guys. I hope there's going to be bad blood. I hope there's going to be a little bit of shit talk. We saw the Brewers and I think it was the Cardinals. They had like a little exchange because everyone can hear anything or everything on the field now. So if you talk shit, there's going to be someone that hears it probably. So that will be fun. Walker Buehler's debut today against Framber Valdez for the Astros. Who knows who that is? So shout out to him. But I'm excited to watch Walker Buehler. I'm excited to see the Dodgers hopefully come out strong here because they started off 2-2, which is kind of surprising because we thought the Dodgers were going to dominate, but their pitching has taken some hits and hitting hasn't come along yet.
I have no idea how the Giants stole 2 games in that opening weekend.
No idea.
Like after losing, what was it, 9-1 and then 8-1 back to back, then they somehow find a way to steal the last 2.
That's them, I guess. Good job,
Gabe Kapler, man. Gabe Kapler.
Okay, great manager, sure. So we got that. We've got Atlanta versus Tampa Bay. This series has already been going on. Tyler Glass now pitched the first game of this series against each other, and he dominated. Absolutely,
looks so good, so good,
so good. He was blowing 100 by people and just spiking curveballs, and everyone was swinging at him. It was bullying. 4 innings pitched, 9 Ks, and a 14-5 victory for the Rays. They actually had to designate for Simon Foltynewicz after this game, like we said earlier, because of how bad he pitched. We get Andrew. We get a little Charlie Morton versus Mike Soroka on Wednesday.
It's a good matchup there. We'll see. Hopefully, I'm pretty sure Charlie Morton struggled his first outing, right? Yeah. So hopefully he can go back to. Yeah. What was that?
He lost the first outing against the Blue Jays.
Hopefully he can go back to his normal self because I mean I forget what side you are, but I love pitching duels. So
I'll let you know after Jacob deGrom and Nate Eovaldi toe the rubber. That big pitching.
Nate Eovaldi. Let's see that pitching matchup, that pitching duel. You guys got a pitching duel tonight, right? Both teams tonight.
Big Matt Hall, the Hall Pass versus someone on the Mets who's making their first start of their career.
Yeah, good. Rookie shirt, or not rookie showdown, but first start showdown.
I cannot wait. Next game I got for you: the Chicago White Sox versus the Indians. That game actually was going on while we were talking. It is. We'll give people an update because that's what we do. The Indians, I believe, just won.
Yeah, just went final 4-3. doubleheader though, so check out their next game. Actually, let's talk about that. It's interesting. First doubleheader chance throughout this COVID situation.
Definitely didn't doubleheader either. So
I was surprised when they went through with that. I thought they'd try to avoid that for most of the year, but we'll see how 2 games kind of treats the situation.
Yeah, I think it'll go swimmingly. We'll see what happens there. Lucas Giolito struggled mightily in his first start against the Twins. He continued to give up home runs against the Boomba squad of the Twins. But we've got Zach Plesac versus Giolito on Wednesday, which will be a fun pitching matchup. If only that was Shane Bieber, would have been more exciting. But alas, who cares? Next, we've got Chicago Cubs versus the Reds. We've got Kyle Hendricks after a very dominant opening day start. I believe he pitched a complete game.
He did.
Sonny Gray. Your Reds, Andrew, are on the edge right now.
They are 1-3, but
they're teetering because this is another important game for the Reds. I mean, I believe the Cubs were projected to finish first. If they go down 1-4, man, these games, 3 games is pretty big now.
Yeah, I mean, that was actually another point I had about all the surprising first weekend kind of upsets, if you want to call it. I mean, you already have the Nationals 1-3. I
told you that was going to happen, Andrew. I told you.
Hey, you might have said that. You might have said that, but if you look at all the reporters and all them, everyone has them first or second place. Which, I mean, with how slow the East has started, I mean,
I tried to tell people. I saw it with my own eyes. It is a supernatural thing. It is the World Series hangover. It fucks with you in so many ways, and it fucked with them on the very first night. Immediately when Juan Soto is out. Immediately.
Yeah, but I mean, you're missing your best player, so it's gonna.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks.
But yeah, you got them 1-3. They're currently losing right now in the 4th inning. Braves are 2-2. Reds, as you mentioned, 1-3. The other one, obviously, we already just talked about. Dodgers are 2-2 after facing an easier opponent. That definitely surprised me. And then obviously, the Tigers beating the Reds 2-1 in that series, very shocking to me. And then obviously our teams as well. You got to throw them there. I think both of us were expecting at least 2 wins in that opening series. Obviously, that didn't happen.
The Orioles are better pitching, so
I forget who they played, but the last team is. This is after we just mentioned them losing, but White Sox falling to 1-3. I expected more from them.
Yeah. So those 3 games, those 4-game leads are going to loom large later, and then that's a lot of ground to make up. So we'll see what happens. They'll get plenty of games to play each other to make it up, though. My last game for you to watch, Andrew, is Diamondbacks versus the Rangers. Mad Bum versus Lance Lynn. Kind of a role reversal for what you would think. Mad Bum has a mid-4 ERA right now, and Lance Lynn came out and shoved with a 0 ERA to start off the season. It's pretty good. And Sam Wise wants to comment in, by the way, how about the Dads, a.k.a. the Padres, surprise team of the weekend? It's not a surprise if you listen to this program because the Padres were definitely a playoff team pre-playoff expansion, which we didn't talk about. But, yeah. So,
that did happen after our show.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that. We'll Andrew, you tweet out your picks. I haven't even considered redoing my picks because I don't even want to wrap my head around
it's not really redoing though. You're really just adding teams.
Yeah.
But I wasn't surprised because to me, Padres and Diamondbacks are very similar teams. I think I went with the Diamondbacks. I think I went Diamondbacks ahead of the Padres for second there. But I mean, it's a 3-game series. I mean, anything can happen. It wasn't. I don't think the Padres will keep it up all year. But again, they're both gonna be fighting for that second spot. So that series could have went either way. And that's kind of the same way I thought about the Rockies Rangers. I mean, 2 pretty close to even teams. That was a series that could have went either way.
Yeah, I did not even consider watching 1 minute of that game. Not even 1 minute. I didn't care about the Ranger Stadium. That's exactly why I asked Sam to send me the emojis of Joey Gallo home runs. So shout out to Sam. Sam, why don't you drop the emoji in there? Because Andrew doesn't know it, and I don't feel like explaining what the emoji is. So let's end, Andrew, with something we're going to do every week. And
quick. I got 1 game you forgot.
Oh, sure. Oh, we only Andrew. Unfortunately, on the little I don't know, the Periscope chat, when you send the emoji, it just turns into a square. So I can assure you, it is not the square. But go ahead, Andrew.
I was gonna say one game I'm looking forward to tonight and tomorrow is Cardinals Twins. I think that's gonna be a great series.
Yes. The Cardinals are pretty big underdogs today. I thought that
Are they really?
Yeah, I thought that was very interesting. And by the way, Andrew, it's an otter swimming. An otter swimming is
Interesting.
it's a good emoji. All right, so this is the last thing that we'll end every show with. Uh, we will each be tasked, or I guess one of us will be tasked to find their favorite storyline of the week. Obviously, I started because I did not tell you about this. So.
I was like, what are you about to throw on me right now at the end of the show?
So don't you worry. You can just sit back and listen. These are my contenders for my two favorite storylines of the week. Here's what I'm going to tell you. You ready, Andrew?
I'm ready.
And you'll notice a certain theme about these. These are more silly. You know, we're trying to end the shows on positive notes instead of talking about how we're all going to die from Corona, all that good stuff. But story number one is Anthony Rizzo and I don't know how to say his first name, but the Guriel that's on the Twins, both adopting the hand sanitizer theme. Anthony
funny.
Rizzo giving out hand sanitizer at first base. Guriel giving out hand sanitizer after a home run celebration to all his teammates. Give them a squirt. Got to wipe off your hands, all that good stuff. So shout out to them. We love to see that. Hygiene first, of course, doing every precaution. And my second one, which you probably haven't heard of, I heard about it while I was listening to a podcast. Andrew, are you familiar with one G-Man Choi?
No.
G-Man Choi is a utility guy for the Rangers, the Rays. He's a chubby Asian first baseman. Great guy.
He's okay. He's the first baseman.
Yes. He's a great guy. He's pretty funny, all that good stuff. Today, he's a left-handed hitter. Today, or not today, but the other day, he decided, you know what? I'm a switch hitter now.
I was just I thought he was a switch hitter.
I'm going to switch hit, and he had not switch hit in the majors, just a little bit in the minors, but he was like, you know what? Fuck it. Whatever. Let's switch hit. He comes up, second at bat, right-handed, off of Ken Giles, who, Ken Giles is on the DL now.
That's another injury.
Another elbow injury. But before we knew this, G-Man Choi comes up, hits a home run, switch hitting. For what? Just absolutely ridiculous. Just like, you know what? I'm so good at the sport of baseball. I've been hitting from the left side this whole time. Let's switch it up, go from the right, and hit a home run. Incredible. Just astonishing. Do you have a vote, Andrew?
I wish I could be good at just one. I wish I could be good at batting one side, let alone just throw it one day, waking up and be like, you know what, I'm gonna be good at both.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. So which one do you think should win the story of the week, Andrew? I'll give you the vote here.
We're going funny, you said, right?
Yeah, either one.
We're going funny, so we'll go with Anthony Rizzo because that's the more silly, funny one.
All right, good. Anthony Rizzo and the Guriel, whose first name I cannot pronounce. Congratulations. Your award will be in the mail shortly. This is a great episode, Andrew. Great episode. Nice hour. We've made it through the first weekend. Our teams are playing or about to play right now, so we're about to go watch that.
Your team, not mine.
Oh, yeah.
I'm without Phillies baseball until Friday, hopefully. Knock on wood, depending on what happens.
Well, Andrew, this is the end of the show, so we'll talk a little gambling here before we go. I have a parlay with. Unfortunately, I did it, Andrew. I had to.
No, I can't.
I had to do it, Andrew.
That is a huge violation. That is a huge violation. I'm so disappointed in you. Disappointed in you.
The Dodgers and the Mets. I bet against the Red Sox. I know that the pitching is as bad as it is, and Matt Hall is just not it. So I anticipate the Mets going up a quick 5-0 and beating the Red Sox, and I hope the Dodgers and Walker Buehler come out and shove.
I'm not gonna lie to you. This is probably honestly not the worst. This is probably the worst night to go against the Red Sox because it's not like they're going. You should if you were gonna go against them, it would have been tomorrow night when they're facing Jacob deGrom.
No, but Nate Eovaldi is the ace, dog. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but correct me if I'm wrong. But last show in the East preview, you raved about how good your Boston offense was, and they're going up against a guy that's probably equal to Hall. So this game could be 5-5 after the first inning.
I'll be honest, Andrew.
This could be a 12.
I did not know who was starting for the Mets before I made
this. This could be a 12-11 Red Sox win. It's got that written all over it.
You know, it will be extremely bittersweet. I will enjoy it, and it will suck at the same time. But it's
that huge violation. You never, ever bet against your team.
This is the difference between me and you, Andrew. You refuse to wear other teams' memorabilia.
Yes, I will not wear any other team's memorabilia unless I would honor a bet if that was the bet where I'd have to wear whatever team beats my team or whatever. But that's the only way.
Well, Andrew, I unfortunately will try to gain profit off of my team being asked. You know, I have to make this season at least somewhat enjoyable for myself. And if that's J.D. Davis and Pete Alonso shooting laser beams into the Fenway night sky, that's what's got to be. That's what it's got to be.
I can't wait for a 13-11 Red Sox.
You'll be watching.
I can't wait for a 13-11 Red Sox win, and then we get texts. I'm gonna get messages from Jose all night about how he's complaining that he bet against his team and he lost the bet tonight. Cost him a parlay win.
That's exactly what's gonna happen, Andrew. I can't wait for it either.
And I'm just gonna say I tried to tell you. So that's gonna be my response.
Good. I can't wait. Well, this has been a great show, Andrew, as always. Do you have anything to plug before we go, Andrew?
Yeah, real quick. Dusty Baker is 71 years old. I never ended up saying that. Born in 1949.
Okay, good. Shout out to Dusty Baker for his age, 71, the young age of 71.
But you can check me out on Twitter at AJ_Santangelo. And then all the other podcasts I do. A lot of Philadelphia stuff work. In that case, Chasing the Pennant, which is at ANYP Phillies. True_Philly Sport and Philly_Sports Now. And then, of course, I will be getting back to writing for Pub Sports Radio here shortly.
Yeah, hopefully. I'd love to see it.
Hey, summer classes are over. Got some more time on my hands. Research papers in the book. So,
what was your research paper on?
Online education versus traditional education and why online education is better.
Wow, better. Interesting.
Better.
I see you, Andrew. Every paper I wrote in college and in high school, I somewhat connected back to sports. So come on.
We had to have this one on education. Doesn't matter. I got an A in the class. That's all that matters. So
all right, good. Well, I'm happy to see it, Andrew. Thank you as always for joining me. We'll be back next week. Actually, that's a lie. We'll be back on Thursday or Friday. We'll keep you up to date there. We'll be 2 times a week now. Thankfully, that baseball is back for now. I can't wait to see what happens. It's going to be a great time. As always, go Red Sox and Phillies. We'll see you guys next week. Please stay safe and wash your damn hands. Just look at what heaven do. Send us an angel, and I thank you.